What's the most seductive thing a girl has ever done to you? Story number 1. Showed up for a third date with a small backpack with her stuff for an overnight stay, thereby immediately dissipating any tension over whether this was the night I was going to get lucky. Story number 2. Freshman in high school, this girl in my study hall, a junior, would constantly hassle me, but with a friendly tilt. One day, we were both headed to the study hall classroom and happened to be the only two people in the hallway. She starts walking parallel with me to my right side. I was nearest to the lockers. Suddenly, she more or less body-checked me into the lockers, grabbed my forearms and pinned them to the wall and started making out with me. I was surprised and confused, but once my brain and dick knew what was happening, I was a willing participant. Same girl later gave me my first BJ to completion, thus solidifying her place in my FAP Hall of Fame. Story number 3. In college, a girl who I had been flirting with had been sexting with me one night. I was taking a night off from bars, drinking, and was just relaxing in my dorm. My roommate was away. She texts me she's getting ready and coming to my room, that she wants to fuck and film it. I had been doing video work for my filmmaking class at the time, so she knew I had a camera. Despite the nagging internal voice telling me my dick was inadequate to be committed to video, I cleaned the area and set up a camera. She texts me she is at my building near the rear stairs. I go to let her in and she looks incredible. She's wearing a tight dress, huge heels, very camera ready. She walks in and kisses me, and I can taste the booze. Then as she walks ahead of me, I notice she's not walking to stable and equal, this chick is super drunk. I was hoping after the boozy kiss that maybe she took a confidence boosting shot, but despite much protest from my penis, I thanked her for wanting to come over and have fun, but instead escorted her back to her room, then went back to my dorm and thus commenced the great fappening. Story number 4. We were traveling through Japan as friends on my motorcycle and edging toward a real relationship, but for some reason I wanted to slow the relationship down a little. Her Japanese was better than mine, and we checked into a place that had private onsen, naturally fed hot spring areas with a little privacy. She made the reservation for us, and I kind of figured that she opted for the more private small party onsen versus the larger public one, but I wasn't sure until I was. We get to our little onsen area, and the procedure is you take a shower first, of course. I'm fiddling with my robe, stalling for time, wondering what happens next, when she opens her robe and hangs it on a hook on the wall, nothing at all on. She looks me in the eye and says, "Well, I'm in," meaning in the onsen and in the relationship, then proceeds to take a shower in front of me while I try to pick my jaw up off the floor. She had lived in Germany prior and was comfortable on the nude beaches and sunbathing naked in the parks and couldn't be bothered with being shy. Life's too short. The hugest turn-on was her self-confidence, as I had struggled mightily with a previous girlfriend who had none. Story number 5. I met this girl online several years ago. Around 2011, I always thought she was way out of my league. I am a 6 and she is a 10, so I never tried anything. We went out a couple times before, but nothing serious, just as friends, and that was enough for me. Last year we were chatting, and she was telling me she was going to a camping and inviting me. I was not on the mood around those months. A lot of stress of work had me close to a mental breakdown. She kept talking to me until one day I said I always liked her, but she was too pretty for me, and we were never gonna get into something serious. And I'm not really a guy who likes to keep changing girls, so I was glad to be friends. I have to say we were somehow close friends. We talked to each other about our current partners all the time, but on this moment we were both single. So, I was one night gaming with my friends, and she texted me. She has to call me, I said. What happened? And she said she needs to talk to me. I said, please wait 15 minutes. I was into a serious Warzone gaming moment, lol. So, she told me later she was super anxious and locked herself on her bathroom, thinking all the words she wanted to say to me. I have never expected it. Then she called me exactly at 15 minutes, lol. And she told me she was coming to see me in a few days. We are from different cities. That she realized she couldn't stop thinking about me on weeks and weeks, so she needs to see me to clear her feelings. She came in a few days, saw me, we hang out like friends, but after some hours, she asked me to go to bed. She was super sleepy. I was okay, we have slept before like friends, so not big deal. We were on bed and she said, "Are you not going to give me a goodnight kiss? You are really hard to get, man." So she rolled over me and kissed me. Well, in a few days it's our first anniversary, and has been the best year I had, she said. She always liked me, but she never saw me interested enough. We were on the same boat, so yeah. Communication is key. I thought it was not big deal saying, "Oh yeah, I always liked you back in the day," and now my life rounds around her. Story number 6. On campus, saw two good guy friends of mine with a beauty I had never met, and they yelled across the quad for me to come over. I found out much later that when she saw me walking by, they noticed her perk up, so I asked her, "What about him?" She said an enthusiastic yes, and that is why they called me over. I had no idea. My friends said they were all going to a campus event that night, that I would never have gone to otherwise, and asked if I wanted to meet them there. Of course I would. After the event, the group went to a pub, and then I drove her back to her car. After about a half hour leaning against her car, not wanting to leave, she looked me in the eyes and said, "Can we go back to your place?" We quietly spent most every night together for the next 2 weeks without really telling anybody. We were both at another mutual friend's party after 2 weeks, and she was tipsy and very flirty with me. She told the host she was going home with me, and he got very worried and tried to protect her from me and said no, he would drive her home. Guy with a serious girlfriend who was there, no weird motive. She said it's okay, that she wanted to go with me, so I had to finally tell him that we had been seeing a lot of each other for 2 weeks, that she knew what she was doing, and that it was all right. That was 35 years ago, and she is in the other room as I write this. Story number 7. In 2008, I had a huge crush on a co-worker that looked like Anya Taylor-Joy from The Queen's Gambit. Word got around about the crush, and she knew that I was shy, so she asked me out to a bar on her 19th birthday party. Imagine sitting in an exotic Persian lounge, where everyone is high on hookah and on the brink of an orgy, while Anya Taylor-Joy is staring at you with those enormous eyes as if she's psychoanalyzing your very essence. She knew I was out of my element and nervous, so she took a deep draw from the hookah, grabbed my thigh, looked up at me intensely with those flaming eyes, while beckoning her finger towards her as she leans in towards my face. I froze like a deer in headlights as her lips sealed over mine, and she blew the hookah smoke directly into my soul. In that very moment, feeling the very air that was inside her body move down into my lungs, sent me into a euphoria I've never been able to achieve since, straight up spiritual. She held her face nuzzled against mine until I breathed out. I felt her eyelashes against my face as she opened her eyes, locking with mine before we made out for what seemed like an eternity.